into it, shall we? Cheers. Why should you care about theology? What even is theology? Theology comes from two Greek words, theos, which means God, and logos, which means word or discourse, study or reasoned. Theology is the study of God and all things in relation to God. I'm an aspiring theologian. I'm going to talk about what a theologian truly is, why every Christian should care about theology, and I'm going to talk about my journey to becoming a theologian. And at the end of this video, I think I'll give an example of what theology is, or how to do theology. Hosea 6:3 says, let's press on to know the Lord. Theology is a spectrum of those who know God and those who don't know God. You see, everyone is a theologian. They're either a good theologian or a bad theologian, but every single person must wrestle with these questions. Who is God? What is God? Where is God? And I'll do you one better. Why is God? So, why should Christians care about theology? Every Christian is a theologian by nature. A Christian is someone who follows Christ. Someone who is a follower of a man who was born on this earth, who died, and who was resurrected. A man who claimed to be the Son of God and the Son of Man, the one riding on the clouds. What does that mean? That's theology. Now, every Christian is a theologian, but not every theologian is a Christian. And that is why a Christian should care about theology. Because knowing who God is and having a relationship with Him is one of the most important things a person can do. Christians have a calling to go and preach the gospel, to go and tell the world of the one true God, Jesus Christ. Why do I say I'm an aspiring theologian? Because I've loved God. I've had a relationship with Him since I was a child. And since I was a teenager, I've given my life to Him. Now I'm 33. That's well over 20 years that I've been studying the Bible, that I've been into knowing who God is. I've been discovering who He is and having a relationship with Him. But I've never been an accredited theologian. You see, everyone's a theologian, but you can be a good theologian or a bad theologian. A good theologian is someone who studies, who reads to understand who God is. And a bad theologian is someone who doesn't care, someone who hasn't been studied, someone who hasn't examined the way they think about God. I'm growing as a theologian every day. Every day I'm growing. I'm growing as a person. I remember the moment when I started reading the Bible for myself every single year, going through it. And I discovered that I can spend an entire year reading and studying one book of the Bible, just studying every single word, studying the literary structure, the context, the historical context. If you don't know, the Bible is made up of 66 different books, let alone all the extra biblical content that surrounds it. I realized something, that I can spend my entire life studying just one book of the Bible and not even scratch the surface. I can spend my entire life studying who God is and not even scratch the surface. And that, my friends, is what drives me. That is why I say I'm an aspiring theologian. I would love to spend my entire life studying who God is, but I have to make a living. I have to drive a truck, and I haven't had the ability to go to school in order to become an accredited theologian. This is what this channel is about, studying God. I mean, there's so many different types of theology. There is systematic theology, there is historical theology, there's biblical theology, there's textual theology. I would love to get into systematic theology. However, for this channel, at least for the most part, I'm going to be focusing on the literary structure of the Bible. Also, I'm going to use this channel to help me stay sharp with preaching the gospel, with talking about who God is. I read from Hosea chapter 6. And what I'm going to do is we're going to go there. We're going to go to Hosea chapter 6, and we're going to read it from the Common English. This is the CEB, one of my favorite translations, just my daily reader. I have a lot more than this, but this is the one I always go to first. Going to Hosea, 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 we love ya, Hosea. So if you don't know about the book of Hosea, the first step is to look at the context of Hosea, right? The context of Hosea, it is one of the 12 minor prophets of the Old Testament, right? God has called this prophet Hosea to set an example for Israel. Israel is in a season and a time of rebellion, of walking away from their God, walking away from their calling, from their covenant that God has called them to. And they have gone and created themselves other gods. They have gone and worshiped other gods. They've made other idols, and they have replaced the holy God Yahweh from the temple, and they are giving themselves to the nations that God has told them not to. So God is showing them that I have made you my people, and what you have done is you have whored yourself off. You have decided to commit adultery, spiritual adultery. So God calls Hosea, and the premise of the whole book is that he calls Hosea to marry a prostitute, to find a prostitute and to marry her. And this prostitute leaves Hosea over and over again. She is his wife, but she breaks the covenant of marriage. And that is exactly what Israel did to Yahweh, to God. So God calls Hosea to go find his prostitute wife, to go pick her up out of the gutter, to pay her debts that she has made, to free her from the bondage of sexual slavery, and to bring her back to marriage, bring her back to his house, to clean her up. And this happens multiple times. And what this book is truly showing is God's mercy and his grace for his people, how he loves his people, and how even though they have committed adultery and they've walked away from him, he's going to put them under judgment, but he's going to preserve them. He's going to bring them back. And God's plan for Israel has always been to bring them back into his mercy. Now, we get to look at this book and we get to understand that Israel, in a sense, also represents the people of the world. You see, God has called Abraham to create this nation, and he has picked Abraham to bless the nations. And through the line of Abraham, through these Israelites, God would create a way to make a way back to the kingdom of God through Abraham's lineage. So the plan has always been to redeem humanity itself. Humanity has left God and has abandoned God and has been divorced from God ever since Adam, ever since the Tower of Babel. God has been divorced from his chosen people. So now we get to look at chapter 6. Chapter 6 says, "Come, let us return to the Lord, for it is he who has injured us and will heal us. He has struck us down, but he will bind us up. After 2 days, he will revive us. On the third day, he will raise us up, so that we may live before him. Let's press on to know the Lord, whose appearing is as certain as the dawn, who will come to us like the showers, like the spring rains that give drink to the earth." It goes on to talk about how Israel has broken the covenant throughout this chapter, and how Israel has chosen to whore itself, to abandon itself. Now, we've looked at the context. We've looked at the context of this chapter and of this verse, and we know what it's saying, right? It's talking about the people of God, the chosen people of God, Israel, that have abandoned him. And the prophet is calling out to them, "Come, let us know who he is. Come, let us know the goodness of God." Now, we get to take this, and because we've looked at the actual context of what this means, the next step is to understand what it says about God. God is a merciful God. Even though we walk away from him And even though we deserve to be under the punishment and the justice of God, God will still make a way for humanity to come back to him. God's desire is for things to be made right. God's desire is for things to be made holy. God's desire is for justice to be paid for. Now, as I think about this for myself, and I'm sure every single one of us can stand in the same position, because I know that this is the human condition. I have walked away from God. I have warred against God. I have given myself to the world, to the flesh, to things I shouldn't have. But God has sent his Son to die for me, his only begotten Son. He has made a way for me to come back to him. Through the sacrifice of Jesus Christ, I now have a chance to be reunited with God. The hidden purpose of a Christian is to speak of this truth, because everyone's a theologian. Everyone has something to say about God. But Christians, we are holding on to the true revelation of who God is. His mercy, his goodness, his judgment, his justice. One day he will make all things right. One day we will be resurrected with Christ. All of us have a chance to be resurrected with Christ. And as a Christian, we understand this. We know this. So it's up to us to be about theology, to be good theologians, because everyone is a theologian. And everyone needs guidance to become a good theologian. The hidden purpose of a Christian is to bring the heart of God back into theology. Because theology is a beautiful thing. Studying books and studying what the scholars say, studying what the history says, studying what the different religions say, what all the different texts say, studying it all. But it's more than just academia. Theology is about understanding and truly understanding who God is. And Christians know the path to God. Christians know the path back to God, Christ. He is the way. The Son is the way to the Father, the creator of everything. And only through Christ can we have true salvation. So I'm an aspiring theologian, and this channel is going to be about my journey to becoming a better theologian. And if that's what you want to do, follow along.